Welcome home to St. Anne's. All right, in the few hours, minutes that it takes me, we want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you. Like that. It's going to be a choose your own sermon day. So, there are several sermons that are available here in this reading today. We could talk about Thomas, which is everyone's favorite thing to talk about, Doubting Thomas. We love a good Doubting Thomas Sunday. We could also talk about why the disciples are holed up in a room and Jesus coming to them and talking to them about it. Which one do you want? You want Thomas or the disciples? Thomas and the disciples? Well, now that you ask, they're both very, very long. And I might possibly preach both, but just for you, Lee. All right, well, let's take a vote. Yes. Jesse's my new favorite, Lee. I like Jessie best. She says, let me decide because I'm in charge. I like to feel in charge of things, even if I'm not. Makes me feel good. All right, who likes Thomas? Who wants to hear about Thomas? Good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Choir's like, no. We've heard about Thomas for 10 years. We don't want to hear about Thomas. All right, we got like 10-ish people who are on board with Thomas. Who wants to hear about the disciples locked in the room? 1, 2, 3. Oh, disciples it is. Y'all are sick of Thomas. Because I know, like every year, if you have the unfortunate desire to go to church the Sunday after Easter, who does that? Weird. Everyone is off. The clergy are off. I don't even know why you're here. I don't know why I'm here, but we're here. I know, so you always have to hear about Doubting Thomas, and clergy love to preach Doubting Thomas because I don't know why. We just do. So let's talk about the disciples hanging out in a locked room, shall we? And I think this is powerful. We first need to address the fact that John is anti-Jewish. He's anti-Semitic, okay? We need to address that fact because I think it's an important thing. If you've ever seen Mel Gibson's The Passion or whatever it was terrible, right? It was awful. Awful. Don't watch it. Like, this is your precinct. Don't waste your time. Don't watch that. There is some anti-Semitic stuff that gets picked up. John is a pretty anti-Semitic gospel. Can I tell you why? Because you're going to get the history lesson before. See, I told you, Lee, it was going to be long. It's your fault. Everyone blame Lee. He didn't even want to be here today. Anyway, aren't you guys all glad you're here? Okay, John is pretty anti-Semitic because John is written last, all right? In many ways, John really probably wouldn't even be part of the Gospels if it weren't for a lot of the wheeling and dealing that happens to make the Bible happen. Did you know that? God didn't just hand down the Bible and be like, here you go to King James. Did not happen that way. And with the red parts highlighted. The good parts, they're in red. No, didn't happen that way. So John is last, and he's very different. A very different style than the other ones are. And it's because the time when he's written, there's a lot of persecution happening, right? And if you've noticed, persecuted people will turn on each other first. They don't turn on the majority because majority has the power. So you'd think that people in minority status would team up together. No, that's not what happens. So that's not happening with the early Christians and the people of the Jewish faith. They're not getting together and be like, woo, we're together on this one. No, that's not what they do. They turn on each other. And they're all saying, those early Christians, those are bad juju. They like eat Jesus and stuff. They're like cannibals. They're weird. And the Christians are like, oh, we are not Jewish. Persecute them, not us. We are not them. They are bad. Do you see that? And so John is writing at this time. So he's making it very, very clear that the Jewish people are the bad ones, okay? And the Jewish people at the time are going like, those Christians, they're bad news. That's what's happening there. We are not anti-Semitic. We are from the Jewish faith. Jesus was a Jew, okay? We're down with the Jewish faith. That's our mother faith. I know the Romans like to think that they're our mother faith. No, the Jewish people are our mother. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. That's a little history lesson. We're not anti-Semitic. That's historical. That's kind of what they were in. All right. So the disciples, they've just seen their friend die horrifically, right? And they're really, really worried that someone's going to come for them next. So do you remember how Peter kind of turns on Jesus? Bless you. It counts when I say it. So Peter is kind of like lost it, and everyone totally bails. There are very few people at the actual crucifixion because they're like, oh, that escalated quickly. Don't want to be around for that. So they all run. And they're hiding, right? Isn't that what you would do? I mean, we all like to think that we would have been there with Jesus at the cross, be like, yeah, Jesus. No, the vast majority of us would have been like, so where you want to go? Because we ain't sticking around here. The women were there. Because, yeah. Ruth says it. I'm with Ruth. The women were there because they were there. The guys all run and hide. And so they're hiding in a locked room. And it's locked because they're worried that someone's going to show up for them next. And Jesus appears. Now, something that I'm going to have you pay a lot of attention to is that when Jesus appears in the coming weeks, remember, Easter is 50 days, right? It's not a day. This is like the same thing that I always do to you guys during Christmas. It's a season. It's 50 days, okay? So we're still in Easter. So when this happens, I want you to pay attention. You're going to notice that there's a lot of importance placed on the bodily state of Jesus, okay? I just want you to pay attention because it's going to be really, really important in all of our readings that it is clear that he is in human form. He is not an apparition. He is not a hologram for you Trekkie people out there. I know I made a Star Trek reference, and I'm so proud because I do not like Star Trek. I'm married to Trekkie, though. But it's really, really important for them that Jesus is fully human. Okay, when Jesus comes back, Jesus is fully human. Because there really is an acceptance of this at this time of the spiritual world, right? So it's going to be really, really important that they recognize that Jesus is fully human in these moments. So here he is suddenly in their midst. And they have completely failed. And every job that they were given, I want you to realize this. They have utterly and completely failed as disciples and friends. They are rotten friends, okay? Can we just say that we expect our friends at our time of need to be there? They weren't. They ran for the hills. They denied Jesus. And now they're hiding out. So they won't even tell anyone that they were friends with Jesus. Okay? They have utterly and completely failed in their one job. One job. Jesus has been prepping them for years of what is going to happen, right? If you follow me, things are going to get rough. I expect you to stand up because you won't be worthy of the kingdom of God if you can't stand up. The second they're asked to stand up, they hide. Yeah. Raise your little paw if at some point when you needed to stand up, you hid. We have all hidden in the room. All of us. Every single one of us. Because part of our human nature is we hide. We hide. We hide in numbers. We hide our own beliefs. We hide our own identity. We hide. We are hiders. And part of it is we're herd animals, so we like to hide in the crowds, right? We hide in locked rooms all the time. We see injustice. We participate in injustice. And we hide in our locked rooms. The second we are called, we hide. But what if I tell you, Jesus shows up anyway? We hide from God. We hide from each other. In the midst of our hiding, God shows up. Jesus is like, nope. Nope. There is no hiding. And that's both a promise and a threat. At the end of the day, Jesus is both promise and threat. Because Jesus is going to show up. And our hidden moments, the stuff that we don't want to acknowledge, the stuff that we want to hide from, the people that we want to hide from, our realities, Jesus is right there in the middle of it. And Jesus says, I get that you're afraid. I get it. I call you out, but I also promise you. I will breathe on you. You have me with you. No matter what, no matter where, you have me with you. So get out. You kind of wanted Thomas now, don't you? Maybe next year. I'll give you the choice next year, too. Welcome home. Oh, sweet God. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. Really good, or we can't wait to meet you. You can't go tell the bishop, though, she's on vacation. So you can't even tattle on me.